Good morning. My name is Shauna Stefanchik, and today I'm going to be doing a brief session, excuse me, on how you can explore priority standard resources or just some other great resources that are available to you on DESE, as it's not always the easiest webpage to navigate. So the goals of today, I'm just going to do a brief walkthrough of the web page to show you effective resources at the 4 different core contents. And I'm going to provide you a few ideas of how you could leverage those resources to help your teachers. Why are we looking at curriculum and content resources, particularly the resources on the DESE page? Because they are all so supportive of the curriculum and the work we're trying to do. I have this picture of a foundation here. Curriculum and the DESE resources are just the foundational piece. We get caught up a lot in data teams and other things analyzing, but when it comes back down to it, the most important thing that we can do for our teachers is to help them understand their standards and what proficiency really looks like. And the reason we look to DESE resources is because they continually provide us with that clear picture of what proficiency looks like, sounds like for Missouri standards. So one of the biggest misconceptions I see across the state and in education in general is our understanding of a guaranteed and viable curriculum. Typically, if we ask teachers, what is your curriculum, they name a textbook or a resource. And that is what has gotten us in trouble of why we're not scoring as well as we can. Our interpretation of what those standards mean and how we work and do that with kids is typically different than what the state is saying is proficient and what they put on that assessment. Therefore, there's a disconnect. So helping teachers understand that the guaranteed and viable curriculum, the guarantee, and this is a Marzano definition, is that every student is provided the opportunity to learn a core content that provides them with the probability of success. And in Missouri, what we voted on for that is our state standards. That is the guarantee and the equity piece that we provide to all Missouri kids. And the viability is the fact that we have a plan of, after looking at those standards, of how we could adequately go through and cover and assess those standards. So really, the bottom line is curriculum is anchored in standards and not resources. It's different in this case today as we look at DESE resources because they are all connected tightly to the standards, Missouri standards. Every textbook, every resource is going to say, oh, we're aligned to your state standards, ours and 40 other state standards. And so how they ask those questions and assess those questions are different than how the state of Missouri does it. And so we really need to be anchoring ourselves on these state resources to help clarify for your teachers what are my standards and what is the state looking for as far as what they consider proficiency. So a little bit about the why. I'm going to hop out of here and go to another server, and we are just going to now look at the DESE webpage. I apologize here. Let me just go ahead and do this. So you can type in desemo.gov, or DESE usually does it. And here is the home page. The easiest way for teachers to find, so I'm going to tell you, this is how I would teach core content teachers. They are an educator, so always start with educator. And you can see as I clicked on that, on the left-hand side, a toolbar came down. So I'm going to come over here and I'm looking at curriculum. 2 things that teachers want to look at, either assessment items or they want to be looking under curriculum, the state standard document. So we're going to go under curriculum. So that is the key page everyone needs to know about. 2 things here. When this pops up, always look on every content page for these quick link boxes. These are very helpful. They usually quick link to the most important documents people need to look at. Look right here, priority standards. If your teachers have not spent a lot of time identifying their priority standards and really anchoring themselves and what those are, critical. We need to be doing that. You should be updating your curriculum to ensure that teachers are clear in every unit what standards they're teaching, which ones are priority and which ones are supporting. I would also recommend to you that since we know 80 to 90% of the MAP and EOC assessments will be over priority standards, you should have a plan of how your teachers are assessing those priority standards throughout the year. The MAP and EOC assessment should not be the first time the kids see those assessment items the way that they're on the state assessment, right? So pace your priority standards, create assessments around those priority standards, and make your assessments look like what they'll see on the state assessment. And so that's what these resources today can help you do. But there's a quick link to priority standards for teachers, supports for remote learning that are still up there, and some other things. What's key for your content, people, is to look at this right-hand side. It's going to go through every elective or core content, anything that there are specific state standards for, and it is going to have a quick link to their specific page. So today I'm going to focus on the 4 core contents of ELA, math, social studies, science. I'm going to breeze through them. But the important part, step 1, make sure your teachers know how to get here. I want you to notice computer science has something here, career education, ELL, library media, PE with Missouri Healthy Schools, FACS, career pathways, school counseling. Some of your elective teachers aren't aware that there are materials out here for them. And I don't have time today on the call to go over all of them, but please, please, please make sure this would be a great staff 1-hour opportunity to show them how to get here, and just let them click on, look, high school equivalency. I'm trying to find facts here. That they would click on here and just give them time to go through and look at what resources are out there and talk about how they would help them. So let me just choose one page, and I'm actually going to choose one I'm not as familiar with. I'll choose math. But I'm going to quickly walk you through that. Before I do, I want you to also notice on this page, content meetings. You will notice that the State Department has quite a few vacancies. So these are the content people that are currently there. So if your math people have a burning question, Chip Sharp has been there for a long time. That's his information. They can click on that and email them directly. Another thing that is underused that districts don't know about, these content people, first of all, are typically fabulous, and they will come and do free PD for your school. You could ask them to come virtually or come in person. So just know, if you have a content that is really struggling, contact these people. I've worked with Roger, worked with Chip, and some of the people who aren't there now. So notice there are some vacancies, so you can't get in every core content, but contact them, utilize them. They love to help schools directly, and I like to support them any way I can. And we have them on the network here to give resources, but just know you could be using that. Even if you're a department chair or instructional coach watching this, they could do a virtual call with some of your teams and walk through these resources more in depth than I can. And then I want you to also note at the end of this page, there's this professional learning calendar, because there are specific content meetings. Social studies is coming up that they have. These are amazing PD opportunities for your people to go to. I know subs are an issue and it's hard to get people away. They're now in person where they were virtual, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But if you can ever send teachers to these meetings, it's incredible experience and great PD for them. If you have teachers interested in writing content bias or assessment writing, you're going to be wanting to email in these content people. They are constantly looking for teachers and more people to engage in that. And that is some of the best PD that you can do for your teachers. So there's my plug for DESE, and just really utilizing some of their resources and these great things they already have in place. So I'm actually just going to look at one page for you today. I've showed you how to get here. I'm going to look at one core content page. You'll notice, well, let's get on to Chip. He doesn't have a quick links page. Normally, all of them start with this quick link page. So they're all set up a little differently, so here's something you need to know. When I come into ELA, sometimes they have a glossary, right? This great document, and you might think, oh, I'm going to go to social studies and science and find that glossary. It may not be there. Each core content department has different resources and different things that they do. So it's not always common, even the way that they set up their page. So that's why it's important that your people just have time to explore through to see how they are different. So it looks like Chip has done here his math news. This math content hub, that is the notes from the content meetings that he does. So if your teachers can't go, they could click on that document and it's going to link all the slides and resources that they have shown. Calculator information, which everybody always wants to know about with the map, he's quick linked there. The math blocks. If your teachers do not know about the MOLI blocks, that is a big thing for you to make sure that they know. You'll even notice on this right-hand side that there is a link to MOLI itself. I'm going to click there really quick. Chip has a thing right to the math, but I want to just show you MOLEAPs in general. This is a huge resource for you that has blocks of instruction that your teachers could be using. If you come to this page, now, of course, we can't just click. We're going to have to click on Mo Blocks and click, come here. Okay, we're going to go to this external website. MOLI blocks, the creation of these started around 2018-19. The state realized that we're really disservicing kids by leaving out social studies and science. In fact, research and Nell Duke and some people from Michigan University have found we are creating a larger gap in achievement, especially with our lower socioeconomic group, because they are not getting social studies and science. That content helps them with reading. We focused on reading so much, not realizing they need the schema from these other things. We're actually widening the achievement gap. And what they realized, especially at elementary, that there aren't a lot of resources out there and teachers don't have them. So they got teachers from Missouri together to create these blocks of instruction that teachers could use to teach social studies and science. So you'll notice down here that there is ELA. Every ELA block is rooted in social studies and science. They're trying to help people see the connection between their contents. Math is different. All right. So make sure your math, social studies, and ELA people go into these blocks. It will tell you what standards they're aligned to. It will give you great graphics, great content, and it anchors your teacher. And this is what the teaching of these standards should look like, sound like. And the rigor you see in these blocks will be the rigor that you would see on a state assessment. So they're a great way if you have a new teacher or you don't have textbooks or use these blocks. There are not blocks for every standard, and they're constantly building them. They're also mainly the blocks are available 3rd through 12th grade. They're working on K through 2 now, but use what you can and link those right into your pacing guides. For math, the blocks look a little bit different. I believe they even have a few for K through 2, but what they'll do is they will have a little draft of what proficiency would look like, but they have performance events. Here is what some RA strand problems would look like. So math is not as robust as what you'll see in the other core contents where they have this entire block of instruction, but math does have these performance events and helpful things to kind of anchor teachers and what those should look like. And they also have these scales here that show, here's what a basic student should be able to do and a proficient, and they add the proficiency descriptors right there. And then they talk about some instructional resources and things you might be looking for that would mean a student is proficient. Great resource to make sure that teachers know. So I'm going to hop back now, I think, if I can find it, to the math page, but please, if you have not shown your teachers the MOLI blocks, that's important for all core contents. So again, the curriculum calendar, and he has some essential things here. Every content page is going to have these drop-down bars. They might be titled differently, but under essential resources, you're always going to find item specifications, your MLS. So again, these key pages, I would be hyperlinking these right to your pacing guides. I'm all about organizing a landing page and helping your teachers in one click get to these things. If you need help with that, you can contact me. That's something our company specializes in. But just make sure they know that then they're using the item specs. Here's a document that most people don't know about in math. They have expanded versions of mathematics. What I love about these is they'll say, here's the standard, here's the expanded version, and which will give you an additional example of what that looks like. Sometimes we think math is really black and white, but teachers do have some subjectivity there. So this is a great document for teachers to look at. It's got the MLS, your performance level descriptors. Now additional resources, some ones that they have in math. Oh, so they've put under here your math EOC and grade level assessments. What I want to highlight in math is look at this one, additional sample stems. One thing a lot of people don't know is available, and kindergarten is not, but in most grades, what they have is they've taken a strand and they have examples, questions in that strand of what they should look like, sound like. Again, the goal of these is to anchor teachers in what proficient questions look like for that standard. They have them right here. Now you'll notice that they're handwritten. They've basically asked teachers to just write them, and they've kept it simple. But a lot of people don't know that these are here. So, my company specializes in making a tool. We're working on math tools right now where we're incorporating all of these documents into one spot. So it makes it easier with teachers, and we have the proficiency scales embedded. But if you're not interested in buying that tool, you just need to know that there are some things available, so you could think about how you could combine those in a way for teachers to look at them effectively. So again, I'm only going to go through math here, but please make sure that your teachers are able to go through and see what other key documents they have under this content page. The last thing I'd like to show you is I'm going to go back. There have been some additional documents added to the priority standard. So if you go to that priority standard page, you'll notice under every core content, they have some supporting materials. I'm actually going to go under social studies because they have a great new document I want to make sure you know about. And that is, again, it's going to look different on every one, but they have some teacher view government. And let me see, I believe the one I'm looking for here, let me open this up. Yes, this is a leveraging social studies learning document where they have said, remember, in social studies, we're no longer prioritizing content. We are prioritizing the tools of inquiry, which are those thinking skills, which are similar to ELA skills that kids need to know to go and find the information. So what they've done is they said, here is your priority standard tool of inquiry, and here it is listed. Here are supporting standards that could be taught with it. And here are examples of what you could teach and do with those standards. And they've hyperlinked some materials as well. There is some deciphering and some processes that your teachers need to go around in order to use these. But the key part of this is they're trying to tell you, with this tool of inquiry, these are other contents you could teach. Your teachers need to look at their current contents and figure out where they're teaching those thinking skills. That might be hard for them, and this document can help. It tells you, hey, you teach this skill through these core contents. So this would be a good place to make sure you're focusing on this tool of inquiry. And again, it gives you some supporting documents and things that you can use. So in each one of the core contents under priority standards, you're going to go under and see these types of, now I'm all over the place, supporting materials. They look different for every content because every content director does that differently, but there are things there. So again, giving your people time to go through, and then some process time. What did you find? They're going to want to print it off, so be prepared for that. And then debriefing, how could you use this? And then how can you give them time so they can make sure to leverage some of those documents? So I wanted to keep this short and sweet today. Hopefully in review, let me find my PowerPoint here. My biggest tips for you would be to, one, educator page, curriculum, content pages. Make sure all core and elective classes know how to get to their content page. Two, just give them time to explore it. Model like I did just now. You could show this video to them, show them how to get to it, and give them consistent time to review them. And then show them or allow them time to discuss how they would actually use them. Don't assume that we all know how to use those, right? Including me. It's going to take some time. So make sure that you have time to discuss how that might happen and create some specific plans of what that could look like, sound like. We typically miss that piece. We assume, hey, we've shown it to you, you'll figure it out. They need time, and they need some time to collaborate and maybe have some guidance to do that. If you need help with that, remember, content people, for those who don't have vacancies, can help you. And then our company can help you as well with that, as we have content experts. So you could always reach out. But thank you. I hope that this video was beneficial. Feel free. ignore that meeting. That was for another thing. There is no meeting. October is gone, but you're already on the network. If you'd like to invite others to share these things, please make sure to do so. Thank you and have a great day.